my pleasure, Mr. Schwartz.
Call me Marvin. Put it there. That your son?
No, it's my stunt double, Cliff Booth.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Film Seizure at the Movies. I am Jeff Arbuckle, and before I talk about who is joining me for this edition, where we're going to talk about Quentin Tarantino's 9th film, and I sure hope the 10th is not Star Trek, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Star Trek.
You wait your turn, sir. Anyway, you can find episodes of Film Seizure with myself and Jason Oliver every Wednesday at filmseizure.com. I got Monster Mondays on Mondays at filmseizure.com. We also have our episodes over at iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify. We even upload that shit to YouTube. All right, so with me to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are my stunt doubles.
Cliff Booth. And me. Who was I supposed to be? Was I supposed to be Tyler Durden?
Yeah.
That's a dumb joke.
Jason Oliver, Chuck Moore, these jerks went to see this movie with me. Initial impressions before we get into any nitty-gritty.
Funny.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
For me, it was the most fun I've had at a Tarantino film. First time watching it since Pulp Fiction, probably. As far as entertainment goes.
Yeah. Now, to be completely, totally honest with you, there is one Tarantino movie I have yet to see.
Oh, really? Which one?
Django Unchained.
You've not seen that?
I've not seen that. For some reason, it just didn't really appeal to me.
Really?
I think it was the runtime. I was a little like...
It runs pretty quick.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean...
There's
and
a little lag in it. But
that might be the case.
Wow, you didn't see that? Oh, man, Leonardo DiCaprio is phenomenal in that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the Hateful Eight is not that great. And that was the one I saw.
I love The Hateful Eight.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Absolutely love it. I watched it again just a few months ago.
I like both of those films.
No, generally speaking, I like this movie quite a bit. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I'm also going to say that normally this show we don't really do spoilers, but I think it's kind of impossible with this movie. This is not a typical narrative, and therefore I think we could talk generally about it, but I think we have some specific things that we'd like to talk about that get into spoiler territory. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want any spoilers, maybe not listen to this until after that or whatever. But we're going to probably talk mild spoilers.
Yeah. He does the thing.
He does his thing, right. And so right off the bat, the title kind of alludes that this is a little bit of a fairy tale. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So that means that he has changed history like he did in Inglourious Basterds.
That means that he kills Hitler at the end of this movie.
He does.
Yeah.
Shocking he's still alive in 1969.
Yeah, he gets him again.
He goes, he digs up his brain, and he torches that son of a bitch.
There were flamethrowers in that too, wasn't there?
Yep.
Flamethrowers should be in every movie, kiddos.
I think that maybe Quentin Tarantino just likes ending movies with flamethrowers.
He sure does like feet.
Yes, he does.
What was with that? Are there? I was trying to figure out if there was some significance to.
He's a foot fetishist.
He's kind of got a foot fetish.
Not kind of. He admitted it on the fucking Tyra Banks show. He like fucking drooled over her feet.
I mean, that's not even like, feet on dashboard, feet up all the time, but nearly every shot that
has something
entered on a character started at their feet and panned up, like when they're walking. Like
if this movie like was the keynote speaker at a foot fetishist convention, that lecture hall would smell like ejaculation and shame.
Oh,
cheese balls. That's what I would have gone with. I would have gone with cheese balls. That's got a foot smell to it.
Cooked cauliflower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That got to the point where I was laughing every time. It's like, wow, okay.
Spot the feet.
Yeah, it's like, and they're dirty, and
they were all really dirty.
If you don't like feet, you ain't gonna like this movie.
Well, Susan doesn't like feet. I think she liked it. But she really doesn't like feet.
Stephanie doesn't like feet. I think she'll have a problem with that. And she will definitely comment on that.
The fact that they were dirty feet, too.
Yeah.
They're walked
like
in.
like Sharon Tate's scene in the theater.
Clean your fucking boots, man.
dirty ass feet,
Yeah,
man.
it's gross. It's gross.
Yeah, she's all looking adorable. And,
I know,
and,
and
then
then
you're
it's
just
like,
oh, you've got some
get-
dirty fucking feet.
You got to bring her down a little.
Yeah, get them off the back of that fucking movie theater
Yeah,
seat.
that's
That's
just-
gross.
it's just
that's
nasty.
That's inconsiderate.
It was the 60s. Dirty feet were in vogue, I think.
I think so, because okay, so there's a lot of hippies in this movie too. That's another thing.
Fucking
Yeah.
hippies.
Fucking hippies.
dirty hippies.
They're the worst hippie. They were the Manson hippies.
Yep.
That was a fucking nightmare for me. Okay, let's back up here. Okay, so this movie kind of has 3 individual stories to tell. One is the decline of a celebrity in Leonardo DiCaprio's character, which Rick Dalton. I kept thinking his name was Caleb because they kept referring to him as his TV show character name.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that's literally all he's really known for. But it's the decline, it's the falling of his star, the rising of Sharon Tate's star is kind of alluded to.
Yeah.
And then you've got the guy in the middle, which is Cliff Booth, who is Brad Pitt. And it's really kind of Brad Pitt's movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I would agree with that.
Because it seems like a lot of things are coming from his perspective.
I think he's the most relatable.
Yeah. I mean, I know I killed my wife, too.
I'm wondering that. Yeah.
But he's kind of sort of the everyman, right? He kinda
is.
He's the audience's doorway into this crazy Hollywood.
Yeah,
life.
because, I mean, he's got a blue-collar job in Hollywood.
Right.
And he
Right.
also is kind of Leonardo DiCaprio's handyman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is kind of a weird relationship, too. But in a way, it's kind of endearing, too.
What's the line that he's a little bit more than a brother, a little bit less than a wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So through these characters, you're kind of seeing 60s Hollywood. Rick Dalton being a cowboy on cowboy shows. He's kind of, it's the end of the 60s. Cowboys are not in anymore. The mod lifestyle and Sharon Tate's kind of life is in.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely that dichotomy there of sort of the old guard of Hollywood dying and the new Hollywood cinema starting up and the vibrance and youth behind that.
Oh yeah, because they even kind of play that up a little bit towards the end where they have like the different lights coming on at the different buildings in Hollywood and stuff. So they do kind of play with that a lot.
Like they went to 2 different Mexican restaurants, and you kind of
one
get
in the
sense
valley
that-
is
yeah,
the
right.
trashy one,
Yeah,
and the Hollywood chic one, which is probably serving the same food.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, so that really. Because it's Sharon Tate, of course, you've got this Charles Manson type of thing that circle starts to kind of touch the circle that is the Brad Pitt character, and they kind of start to interweave that story.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. You're right when you said it's not a traditional narrative. It is not, and I would argue it's
It
not.
is not.
I would argue it's not even. There's not even really a story.
No, it's kind of a character
It's
study.
kind of a day in the life sort of character study. Yeah, it in some ways it sort of weirdly reminded me of a Robert Altman movie, where it's just sort of you're looking at these characters doing their thing, especially like a movie like The Player, for instance, with Tim Robbins, this Hollywood type movie where there's a story, but it's really about these people. And I wasn't actually sure I was loving that. To be honest, I don't know that this is one that is I'm going to revisit a lot, like some of his other movies.
I feel like it needs to be watched multiple times, personally.
Well, there's a lot there. There's just a lot of like Tarantino fucking bedroom in that movie.
Right.
Like it's fun to kind of unlock all of the little things that he's showing you that he loves, and it is his love letter to movies in general.
One kind of blurb that I saw about this was that it really is Quentin Tarantino's representation of 1969.
Yeah.
you feel like he's remembering this from the purview of nostalgia.
Oh, absolutely right. Yeah, 100% correct. Yeah,
and less so than the other things that he's done. That kind of is a love letter to other types of genres and stuff. I feel like this is absolutely the purview of what he thinks of Hollywood or Southern California in 1969.
And I think that the Sharon Tate Manson family, that is there in the movie to kind of give the audience kind of two things. It gives you an anchor in time, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, even people who weren't alive then, know about that, right? I mean, it's a pretty horrific thing that's sort of etched into history, into the zeitgeist. So it gives us and kind of an understanding of a time and a place, right?
Right.
But then it also gives it's almost like a trick, because it's sort of what the you think the movie is kind of supposed to be about. Like, it weaves in and out of Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio's lives. These hippies and Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski being their neighbors. It's kind of like the
thread.
Yeah, the thread is sort of what gets you from point A to point B, from opening credit to end credit, right?
Since there isn't much of a story,
Since there isn't
you
really
have
much
an
of a
idea
story.
of where you're going in general.
It sort of tricks. Yeah, it's like a mock story.
Right.
These true true events, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, right. It's mock history. It's fairy tale. I mean, and I think that's.
But I think I mean more in the context of it's the plot,
right,
right,
or the illusion of the plot, I should say.
That actually brings up something that I will criticize this movie for. There were times where I was watching this and I was thinking, do we need this entire scene? Did we really need all of the minutes of Rick Dalton talking to the little actress girl?
I think that was some of the best stuff
in
the film, personally.
They're well acted scenes. There's nothing in this that I thought was poorly done, other than
feet.
Right.
So many toes.
So many feet.
So I'm gonna look down as I shower in the morning and go, fuck. Didn't need to see that again.
I wonder if anybody's done the Quentin Tarantino supercut of feet.
I'm positive they did. I ain't gonna look it up.
I'm just thinking of them all right now. I'm thinking about Bridget Fonda and Jackie Brown. I'm thinking about fucking Uma Thurman in the hospital bed,
right,
wiggling her big toe. Right, it's like, oh my god, every fucking movie.
Or Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction.
Well,
where there's a whole conversation about her feet,
and then also the foot massage. Right.
Yeah.
I don't be tickling or nothing.
The foot fucking master.
The fucking master.
So that stuff. I know what you're talking about with that scene, and Rick Dalton talking to the little girl was if you don't know what Rick is going through right now, we are going to hammer you on the head with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little.
Him explaining the book was him basically explaining his own life.
Yeah, there were kind of two forms of self-indulgence here from Tarantino. The one you expect, which is just it's loaded with cool shit, right? That's what you'd probably call it, and all the movie references and all of the pastiche of the different styles of television movies that were coming out at the time. And then there's the other. The self-indulgent side of Quentin Tarantino I don't like so much, which is I think what you're hitting on, where scenes is kind of maybe are going a little bit too long. He's unwilling maybe to take some editorial notes, right?
Right.
It's his fucking vision, and it's gonna be damn near 3 hours long, and I don't necessarily think it needed to be.
If this movie was 20 minutes shorter, I think it could have still had the same impact.
Yeah.
And to know that there are scenes on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
That's a lot of movie. Now, granted, it moved pretty quickly.
It did, actually.
It's cooked. It cooks, but it's so that was kind of one of my bigger criticisms. Generally, though, the performances, particularly from DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, are really good. really, really good.
Yeah, they really are. I kept alternating back and forth. It was like, oh, I think that Brad Pitt is the best in this movie, and I'm like, well, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Right.
Tarantino DiCaprio is like killing me, and so many of the scenes he's in, they play really well off of each other, and the scenes they had on their own were also tremendous. Yeah,
Right.
When they're watching the Rick Dalton episode of FBI, and you're watching the episode with them, and you're hearing Brad Pitt comment on stuff. That's some of the best, funniest stuff and it almost feels like
I suspect that was
ad-lib.
ad-lib.
I
Yeah.
suspect so too.
Yeah.
It felt too natural to be written by the voice of Quentin Tarantino, who has a very specific voice.
Right.
It felt, I don't know, I've never fucking met Brad Pitt, I don't know, but it felt like Brad Pitt's personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know him personally. He's a cool dude.
Cliff Booth to me is Brad Pitt in my eyes. Like that's really kind of what I think Brad Pitt would be like. And like you're saying, it was his voice when he's talking over that stuff. That, I mean, if you saw Brad Pitt, that he'd be Cliff Booth.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, he would be. I feel like his reaction to stuff, it just felt very, very natural, and it does beg the question. It's like, are we getting to the point where we're starting to see Brad Pitt just constantly playing Brad Pitt, much like Jack Nicholson always plays Jack Nicholson, or
he's not a caricature of himself yet, though. He hasn't reached that level of playing himselfness.
I mean, if he gets cast in the remake of The Witches of Eastwick, then it's like, all right, he's landed. He's just going to be himself in this forevermore.
Yep.
I think probably for that reason, then I would say that DiCaprio gives the stronger acting performance.
Oh yeah, he's got an accent. He's got range of emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, like one scene,
And
he goes from,
truly has an arc.
oh yeah,
Brad Pitt's character doesn't really, but
yeah, which is funny because it's so fun. Okay, so again, we talked about spoilers. There is a rumor that Cliff killed his wife, and we see a flashback where pretty much
he's got a
got a harpoon
gun that
She's
he's thinking
harping.
about using.
She's harping on him, and he harpoons her. It's probably
Harps on her.
And so it's so funny though towards the end of the, because like that sticks in the back of your head. It's like, well, he's capable of not only taking his wife's life, but also just
He's gonna fuck some motherfuckers up.
right.
particularly fucking hippies.
Yeah.
And that's the evidence.
He
I
beats the shit, a holy living shit out of a lot of hippies in this movie.
He sure
Yes.
A gaggle of hippies, you might
Yes.
say. A harpoon of hippies.
A harpoon of hippies,
Yeah.
and that's what they call
that's
them. They move in
when they
groups.
group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's so funny when he does get in the climactic scene. He gets a knife in his butt,
Yeah.
and he collapses from the pain and also being completely tripping balls off of a cigarette dipped in acid.
Is tonight the night?
And
off we go.
So and to hear the woman behind us in the theater when he collapsed, her go, "Oh," is kind of the power of Quentin Tarantino, where it's like, yeah, he beats the fuck out of two women
Oh my god, brutal.
and kills one, and the woman behind us was like, "Oh." That kills
Brad
me.
Pitt died.
Yeah, that kills me. That is, and I'm laughing my ass off as he's like just curb stomping these two hippie chicks to death.
Yeah.
Well, one, I think her acid really kicks in.
There's some magic in that because when you think about this, there aren't too many groups or types of people that you can kind of glorify just absolutely curb stomping into oblivion.
Right.
You got Nazis,
and you got Nazis, and you got the
cult-
Mansons.
Yeah.
Right. The Manson family for sure, right, are on the level of the same fucking scum. And it's like, well,
I don't know if they're quite equal, but they're both
they're
scum.
pretty.
They're scummy.
They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
Right.
Pretty fucking scummy.
No, so, all right, so, again, Sharon Tate does not get killed. In fact, she is originally targeted, but they decide to switch to kill Leonardo DiCaprio because they bring their dirty hippie car with no muffler into the private driveway.
He fucking gives it to him, man.
With a pitcher full of frozen margarita.
Yep, that was awesome.
It's an amazing scene.
Yeah,
And so they decide, well, why? It's like why don't we just punish the people who taught us how to kill? TV taught us how to kill. Let's kill that motherfucker, that Rick Dalton guy.
Yep.
So right then and there, it's like, okay, either they're going to succeed and history continues on and they just kill 2 houses of people, or history is going to change and all of a sudden things, like right there while we're watching it in the theater, like space warps and everything. Now we find out that Sharon Tate is the greatest actress ever and Roman Polanski is not a child bride guy.
Well, maybe he is.
maybe.
Maybe
who
he
knows?
still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he still. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's his reaction to her running off with Emile Hirsch.
Could be.
So yeah, the ending of this was very Tarantino in that things are just chugging along with a lot of dialogue, a lot of cool performances, and then it just gets crazy, like violent,
Ultra
crazy. You haven't seen Django, but that's kind of what happens at the end of that movie. It
Yep.
goes from, the topic in that movie is a little heavier than this one, I guess.
Oh yeah,
overall.
yeah. Also, slave owners. Yeah, that's the other one. You're allowed
Oh,
to just,
sure,
yes.
sure.
just brutally savage with
Well,
violence.
Tarantino picks the right people
Absolutely.
for us to root for dying.
in the worst, like most primal way.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that Tarantino is. People can pick at the language that he uses in his scripts. Absolutely, I can understand why people might be, for a couple of reasons, right?
He uses a lot of taboo words.
Exactly.
Often.
However, I don't think you ever get the impression that the people who need to be punished will not get punished in his movies.
Yeah. That definitely seems to be the case nowadays with his repertoire.
Yeah, I mean, and sure, there are instances like,
I guess really that's always kind of been the case, going back at least to Pulp Fiction.
yeah, I mean, and you can say with Reservoir Dogs, there's still a varying degree of shadiness in those
Right.
characters, and
But they were all bad guys.
Well, pretty much everybody
theoretically.
gets what they deserve.
Yeah.
In that movie,
well, except for
maybe Tim Roth.
He's the cop. I mean, he's the undercover guy.
and Oscar the cop.
Yes. So, but still, it's like,
I'm fucking deformed.
but
fucking dying over here, man.
I'm dying over here, man.
but anyway, it does devolve into like this. You begin to root for these people to kind of get what they deserve, and you get to see, like, it's bestial
Yeah, it's primal.
how you you start cheering their utter and total destruction.
And the way that scene starts is so magnificent when they walk in the house. And
Oh, it's
I know
so
we don't
quiet.
want to talk about a lot of spoilers, but Brad Pitt is in the throes of his tripping balls, and these people show up, and his reaction to them is just amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and then it's just, in a way, he's still fully in control. Like, once he realizes, oh, these people are real.
Right.
And, oh, God, the guy's like, I'm the devil, and I'm here to do devil, whatever he said.
Yeah.
The description of that later.
No,
one of the
your
best
name.
jokes.
It was stupider than that.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Tex, just shoot him. Oh, Tex, that's your name.
This is totally different. Sorry, I'm going to change gears on us. To DiCaprio's performance, because I'm thinking about it. He has kind of like a tick.
Yeah, he does.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, he does. It's like, and I think
It's
something.
a stutter.
It's like
almost.
stutter.
Yeah.
There are a lot of actors who have tics like that.
That just was fascinating to me. That detail that he added to the character. It's never really acknowledged.
He only does it when he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because like at the end when he meets Sharon Tate finally, it's like, oh, it's so good to finally meet you.
Mm-hmm.
He is confident. He's because of his tour of doing some spaghetti westerns in Italy, which that's a whole great subplot too. But
I would have actually loved more of that to be honest.
I
Right.
like to watch
Yeah.
those movies. We're a fan of Italian cinema. Hint, hint. Check out August. Anyway, he.
But it's
but
you're right. It's almost like when he's talking business or anything that's about his sort of his career.
Right, when he's concerned about where his place is, he is he has that stutter or that tick or that but by the end of the movie he doesn't do that anymore for like the last act of the movie
No, he doesn't.
because he's kind of gotten his mojo back.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Anyway, so I think
How Leo got his groove back.
generally I think we all like this movie quite a bit. It's I don't want to speak for everybody. I'm kind of tossing that over to you guys again.
Like I said at the beginning, I think I enjoyed it. Maybe not the best story, but I enjoyed this through the entire thing.
I did too,
as
yeah.
much as any Tarantino movie I've seen since Pulp Fiction. I don't know where it's going to fall in the overall
this
pantheon,
is kind of somewhere in
but
the middle of the pack for me. I think. I think I had a better theater watch with movies like *Inglourious Bastards* and *Django Unchained*.
That actually brings up a good point. The only Tarantino movies I've actually seen in the theater at the time that they were released was this, the 2 Kill Bills, because I worked at the movie theater
Yeah.
at that time,
Right.
and Jackie Brown.
Weird.
I didn't see. I mean, Pulp Fiction I saw last year at Flicks, but that was, I mean, obviously
seen
well
it.
after.
I saw everything opening weekend except for Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. I didn't see those I've never seen those in the theater. But I've seen every single Tarantino movie after that opening night except for this one.
right.
I did not see this opening night. I don't think I saw Hateful Eight opening night, but I definitely saw them all in the theater. Yeah. Django Unchained, that was one fucking amazing theater watch. Like, oh my god. Let's just say the theater I was watching it in was very diverse as well, and they were there to see some Jamie Foxx kill some motherfucking slave owners.
Right.
So you're saying that you got the experience I wanted with Shaft?
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn it!
Yeah. It was awesome. That was a really fun one. Jackie Brown was an unbelievable theater watch.
Right.
I saw that Christmas Eve. It came out Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the old Quad.
Yep, that's where I saw it.
And I saw opening night. Were you in the theater with me that night?
Probably.
Oh my god.
Not we didn't know each other,
You
but
could-
we were probably
You
there.
could just feel the crackle of energy on that
Right.
one because people. I mean, Tarantino was about the hottest property in Hollywood.
And people
at that
really
time.
genuinely liked Elmore Leonard then too. Like he
Oh,
was
yeah.
a
Elmer
pretty
Leonard was
popular.
kind of having a renaissance as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Out of Sight is one of my favorite action movies ever.
Yep.
Or
So,
action
man,
dramas.
that theater was just it was crackling. It was so fun. Yeah. But anyway, as far as I liked it too. I liked this movie a lot.
Right.
Wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who likes Tarantino movies. You're gonna get exactly what you want to get out of this.
Is this the kind of movie that Leo will get best actor?
I think that they
consideration
could both
for
get some.
I think they
acting
both could
consideration.
get nominations. They may split because I can't imagine one being in the supporting, one being in the lead.
Leo did a lot more acting in this film.
Yeah.
Well, I think you
it
touched on that earlier.
I
but
think it could be a winning role for him. Yeah.
yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, yeah. We'll see what comes along down the pike. So before we wrap up, Jason, you and I have a very specific nitpick that we want to talk about.
Yeah, thank you
Set
for
this up.
remembering to bring that up. So it was so jarring, this scene, that I was questioning whether or not the character being portrayed was who I thought they were portraying.
Right.
I
Right.
was like, wait a minute, is this somebody?
Is this
somebody-
Bruce Lee?
You're right. Is this is this a Bruce Lee like knockoff? Is it an alternate dimension Bruce Lee? Like, I really didn't like the portrayal of Bruce Lee as this sort of pompous, I'll fight you guy.
It was a reason to say
like super
our
toxic
guy.
masculinity Bruce Lee.
Right,
Like if
right.
Bruce Lee were fucking Martin Cove from Karate Kid,
Yeah,
basically. And that's
kinda.
gross.
Yeah, it is. So I probably speak for the three of us in this room. We're Bruce Lee fans,
Right.
I mean, and we're not alone in the world. And never, ever have I ever heard that he was not some cool dude.
Right.
Right.
He was magnanimous.
He was not brash. He was confident.
Confident, but also humble.
Yeah.
Right.
I could never see him like in a Hollywood back lot that's holding court like that, and just making himself heard to all who are around. It was just weird.
It was weird. I think I get the reason. It was a total device. It was the way that you understand at this point that Cliff Booth is a fucking badass.
Right.
He can hold his own with one of the greatest fighters
Which
that
is
ever lived, which is a bit of a stretch, obviously.
That is
right.
But they had to make
somewhat
it
important later in the movie to show that Cliff was not one to be trifled
But
with.
to make it at Bruce
the
Lee's expense,
they
like
could have
that,
done it a myriad of other ways.
Yeah.
They could have done it with
which is weird because that Quentin Tarantino is a huge Bruce Lee fan as well, and it's like what is with that?
I'd be interested to hear commentary from him on that.
I would
like
too.
if it's available. Like I fully understand why he did it that way. Like why would Cliff Booth ever get in a fight with Bruce Lee? That's
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Right.
So they needed to change things to make it happen.
It
Yeah,
would have
was
been
stupid.
one thing
In the
for Cliff, because that's shortly after we find out what he's done to his wife.
Yeah.
Or what
Right.
we assume he's done to his wife. The fact that Zoe, what's her name?
Zoe Bell.
Zoe Bell shows up.
Yeah.
Is like, because
Of course, she's got. Yeah, that's one of those ones you just kind of call it. It's like, oh, okay. Kurt Russell's the stunt man.
yeah,
And it's like his wife's gonna be
Zoe
Bell. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, oh yeah, I saw Death Proof. I saw Grindhouse. We saw that on opening night.
That was a fun theater watch.
Until Death Proof, until halfway through
You know
Death Proof,
what's
and I was
funny,
like,
though?
done.
You know what's
Checking out.
funny though? I've seen Death Proof far more times now though than I've seen Planet Terror.
I did not like that movie. I love Planet Terror. That's just my sensibility. Though.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's one of those things. It would have been understandable if he picked that fight.
Death
With
Proof.
Bruce.
Sorry, one more quick thing. Death Proof definitely goes into self-indulgent Tarantino territory though. Like the first half of Death Proof
Is awesome.
When is he
Death
not-
Proof?
Right. No, the first half that's the part I like. I don't like the
all
second.
the bar stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the second part is more your sensibility with the car shit.
I know,
That's weird.
but it was to the point where it's like this is dragging forever. And I'd already been in this. I've already watched one full movie.
That was the first half for me. Was dragging forever in Death Proof. The whole scene in the diner, which
wow.
was like 30 minutes long.
That's weird, man.
It was a bit much.
Yeah.
That was a bit much. When is Tarantino, since, this is his 9th film, when is he not self-indulgent, at least
Well, he always
as
is.
part of it? Like Jackie Brown might be the only one I can think of that nothing stands out in my mind as being Tarantino. Maybe it's because he didn't write it. I don't know. But he wasn't very self-indulgent in that. Everywhere else he seems to be.
He definitely pastiches blaxploitation a lot in that. And I think that's more his style than
Right.
but it's also his self-indulgence. I mean,
I guess.
that's his
Well, I don't know.
his use of pastiche is
Well, but I think that also comes from the source material too.
true. And I'm fine with it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's his style. It's what I like about his movies.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean back to the Bruce Lee
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I can understand if that was a way to show more gray area with Cliff in that moment, but it kind of makes him somebody we root for. And that's again at the expense of Bruce Lee, who is one of the greatest heroes ever. I mean, that dude beat the fuck out of Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he did, and there's no
You could have
way.
made it Chuck Norris. If you had like a fucking douchebag Chuck Norris
Should have
with a
been
bowl
Chuck
cut,
Norris. Should have been Chuck
it
Norris.
should have been Chuck
That
Norris.
would have been hilarious.
That would have been fucking funny.
So the whole Bruce Lee thing where it really lost me is when he said he would cripple Cassius Clay, and I'm like,
He would
Bruce
he
Lee
would have no
never.
reason to fight.
Well,
him.
I would cripple him. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
he wouldn't want to fight him. He wouldn't.
it was silly.
It was weird. That's a scene that could have been cut.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, guys? I think we've overstayed our welcome here.
Okay. I'm good.
Good.
I would just say watch the movie Enjoy the movie. Don't
worry about it.
Don't try to dig too deep into any meaning of anything. Just, have some popcorn and laugh a lot.
And get ready for Once Upon a Time in Starfleet.
Once Upon a Time on the Enterprise.
Once Upon a Time, Jeff ain't going to see that movie. That's where Jeff draws the line.
I'm so there.
I mean, yes, I'm 100%. If we're going to talk about that for a moment,
let's talk about it.
I'd go day one.
Me too.
Would you boldly go?
I'd boldly go where Geoff Arbuckle would never go before.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I love weird ass kooky fucking shit that should never happen like that. So bring it. Yeah.
All right. My final thought is that I agree with you, Chuck. That this is a movie that you can't really think too much about the reality of it,
right?
Other than the people you wish would have gotten their fucking teeth knocked in, gets their teeth knocked in, big time. I do worry that this movie, if we want this movie to be celebrated in any way, particularly with like award season or stuff, some people might find it a little disingenuous to a bad moment that did take away a rising star. Because I mean that's some of the criticism I've heard about in Inglourious Basterds. It kind of is a little disingenuous to the struggle of World War II and but it's I mean, I don't share that opinion. But.
No, I don't share that opinion either. There's lots of movies for that.
Right.
I
mean, fuck, Inglourious Basterds was a comic book come to life.
Yeah.
It was Captain America punching Hitler.
Yeah.
Which I really dug seeing Two Gun Kid comics and Sergeant Fury and the
Sergeant Fury comic. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
I'd rather Quentin Tarantino do a Nick Fury movie than Star Trek.
God, he should do a Nick Fury movie.
Anyway, so I think we're in agreement. This is a cool movie, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch with a group too.
Yeah.
So, new episodes every Wednesday. This upcoming Wednesday, we've got Jaws.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It's a good one.
I might actually listen to this one.
Tomorrow, I've got a new Monster Mondays, which is Horror Party Beach, one of my favorite goofy monsters ever.
Rubber monster
with hot dog mouth.
That's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. It's a lot of fun. It's a bad movie, but it's a lot of fun. I still find 3 things I like about it. Anyway, new. Later this week, Jason and I are going to talk about Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
We are excited about that. But anyway, filmseizure.com is where you can catch all of that stuff. We also you can find us on the iTunes.
Man, I might have to pack a flask for Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring a bottle.
I want to sneak into another movie for that one.
So iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. Find our episodes there. Until next time.
Chuck Moore.
I'm Jason Oliver.
I'm Geoff Arbuckle. Save me the aisle seat.
Is that your sign off on these?
Yeah, on this one.
I like that.
I came up with that.
Yeah,
I came up with that a few weeks ago.
Hey, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Do it again.
I'm Geoff Arbuckle, and until next time, please save me the aisle seat.
You flubbed it.
I did.
Line.
All right, here we go. Oh, God. Motherfucker. I was so stupid. Look like